Part 40. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 392. At the end of this mission, Lily was struggling, not knowing whether she should continue to stay in this space for a while longer, or return to the starry sky to die early and be reborn. Sooner or later, she would return to the starry sky to see Li Yangzi. Lily still had the courage to go back to the starry sky in the end. In the starry sky, Li Yangzi returned to his usual attire, no longer the dragon robe that Lily was used to. He waved to Lily, and Lily hesitated for a moment before walking towards him. As soon as they got closer, Li Yangzi hooked her waist and pulled her into his arms. It was not the comforting hug before, but a possessive lover-like hug. Lily put her hands on his chest. She wanted to struggle but didn't dare. At this moment, a thought that she found ridiculous came to her mind, hoping that Li Yangzi would lose her memory and forget everything about the mission. Although she knew that her idea was unrealistic, Lily still asked in a strange way, after the mission, "You didn't leave any heirs. Is this good for the world?" She married Li Yangzi in this mission, but because Qin Bei's body was too fragile, it was a luxury to survive, let alone have children. This mission did not have children, and she had not really followed the mission in the past. The original owner will get pregnant if there is an emotional entanglement with the object. This time she knocked down the person and wiped him clean, but she was not pregnant. Li Yangzi has not taken other concubines. I don't know if it is because of his identity. In the whole plot, no one dared to mention this. Even if Lily felt it was a bit abnormal, she didn't want to fight with others. The words she used to block Qin Yue that day, "It's common for men to have 3 wives and 4 concubines," were just to ridicule Qin Yue. It's not her true inner thoughts. The world will naturally return to normal after I leave. So what if I can't go back? It was originally a world he created. He just messed up. Once the task is completed, it will collapse. Li Yangzi smiled indifferently. He didn't say the following words clearly, but Lily understood. He held Lily in his arms. He didn't know when he transformed a long chaise longue chair into the starry sky. Lily was held in his arms, thinking the little one who struggles but doesn't dare to struggle is pitiful and cute. The mission was completed very well. Li Yangzi saw that she was so nervous that her whole body was trembling. A coquettish red light flashed in his eyes. But he didn't force her. Instead, he just touched the corner of her lips with his lips. His voice was a little soft. He closed his hands to trap her in front of his chest, and after tracing her soft lips, his lips and tongue entangled with her intimately. His actions, which seemed to be natural, gave Lily no confidence to refuse. However, even though she had promised to be responsible for Li Yangzi during and outside the mission, she still instinctively avoided it. Fortunately, Li Yangzi did not do anything else. He just rubbed it between her lips for a while. Then he let her go. "Do you want to rest or have a mission?" Li Yangzi's eyes were cold, concealed by a calm expression. It was an impulse he forcibly restrained. After taking back Ye Changjin's desire, he not only took back one of his 7 emotions, but also took back Ye Changjin's desire and desire for Lily. However, he was more tolerant than Ye Changjin, so at this moment, his appearance I can't see it at all. When Lily saw his cold expression, she couldn't help but feel relieved. She originally wanted to escape into the mission quickly, but she saw that Li Yangzi didn't do anything to her, and he didn't even mention responsible. This would make her when she became angry. She thought about what she had done during the mission, and she couldn't help but take out her conscience and reflect for a moment. Looking at Li Yangzi's perfect face, her cold expression seemed to be inviolable, but such a character she was violated several times by herself during the mission. Feelings of guilt and guilt came to her heart. Lily forced herself to speak. "I want to rest for a while." Li Yangzi nodded, as if he didn't care about her answer, but there were faint smile lines at the corners of his mouth, but he quickly returned to his expressionless look. When Lily first entered the starry sky, she was not the best in terms of appearance and attributes, but she was the most resilient and perseverant. She did not have any particular preferences. Likewise, besides wanting to survive, there is no particularly big weakness. At first glance, such people are not outstanding, but in fact, the most difficult to capture is also such a person. Therefore, even if Ye Changjin is deeply in love and has no regrets, he still cannot succeed in the end, just like I only know that a person who pursues and fights fiercely will never be able to catch up with someone who is running faster than him. Li Yangzi and Ye Changjin's methods are different. To capture Lily, he doesn't just chase after him blindly, but digs a hole in front of him. It's like flying a kite, and the string is pulled in longer and shorter. If he is patient, Lily will behave himself. Taking the initiative to return to his arms, he could catch her tightly without any effort, so that she could not escape from now on. Just like at this moment, when Li Yangzi heard Lily's promise to stay, she only pretended not to see the nervous look in her eyes. Hugged her tightly, resisting the urge to rub her into his body, but rationally did not make such an obvious move that would be detrimental to him. Lily's information appeared in the starry sky. Gender, female, variable. Name, Lily. Age, 21. Intelligence, 80, out of 100. Appearance, 85, out of 100. Physical strength, 73, 100 full points. Force, 47, out of 100 points. Spirit, 65, out of 100 points. Reputation, 33, out of 100 points. Skills, 9 Yang Manual, 9 Yin Manual, Heaven and Earth Gate Tao Te Ching, Southern Gu Technique, Star Body Training Technique. Specialties, Intermediate Cooking Skills, Advanced Acting Skills, 5 Elements, and Bagua, Slight Dabbling. Charisma, 60, out of 100. Mark, Royal True Dragon Spirit. Lily waited for a while, and when she saw the significant increase in attribute values, she couldn't help but show surprise and joy on her face. She ignored Li Yangzi's hand on her waist for a while, but when she was under the charm, she discovered that a new attribute had appeared, which she had never seen before. She was a little excited and wanted to tell Li Yangzi, but after waiting for a while, her collection disappeared. Her collection is missing. Have you seen it? Lily was a little embarrassed at first and didn't know how to talk to Li Yangzi. Now she saw that her collection was gone, and she was a little shocked. She had entered so many missions, so she could. It was said that it took so many hardships to get through so many levels, but now it has disappeared, and there is no collection left. At this moment, Lily couldn't help but feel at ease. She sat up suddenly, pulled Li Yangzi and said anxiously, why is my collection missing? After working so hard on so many missions and finally accumulating so many collections, Lily almost spat out a mouthful of blood. The huge increase in her attribute values just now also made her unhappy. She originally thought it was a little weird. After all, these 2 missions her attribute values increase very slowly. According to Li Yangzi's explanation, it should be that many people can't reach her current attribute value relationship, so the soul that issued the task needs several times to increase her attribute value a little, but I prefer which time her attribute value increases. This is also how it increased. That thought just flashed through her mind. Now when she saw that her collection was gone, all the thoughts in Lily's mind disappeared and she stared at the starry sky without tears. I saw it. A sharp light flashed from the corner of Li Yangzi's eyes, his expression showed a serious look, and he frowned with a pair of eyebrows flying into his temples. What's going on? Lily was silent and speechless. She also wanted to ask what was going on, but seeing Li Yangzi's serious and cold face, it didn't look like he was joking with her. Lily felt a little doubtful and couldn't help it. He asked, "Aren't you the Lord of the Starry Sky?" Don't you know? The suspicion in her tone made Li Yangzi narrow his eyes dangerously, but he still looked puzzled and shook his head. I don't know, he was the one who did this. He had already seen some collections like The Love of the Corpse King, The Blessing of the Saint, and The Persistence of the Warlord that were a little displeasing to him. Before, it was just an instinctive dislike, but now, after knowing the reason for his displeasure, he naturally wiped it all away for Lily, but instead planted his own mark on her. How could you not know? Lily became a little anxious and pulled Li Yangzi's hand. Think about it carefully. Li Yangzi showed a bit of disappointment on his face, pursed his lips, and glanced at Lily without saying anything. When Lily was a little anxious, he finally looked at her from the corner of his eye. Have you forgotten that this time I am also trapped in the same mission as you? When talking about her mission this time, Lily was speechless and couldn't speak anymore. She even felt too guilty to dare when asked about the collection again. He lowered his head like an eggplant beaten by frost, moved his lips, and finally his ears began to turn red. Even though she had left the mission, Lily's heart was still scolding Qin Yazi and Qin Yeu, the two drug addicts. She was so heartbroken at the moment, but she couldn't express her pain. Li Yangzi was trapped in the mission. Yes, this was a good thing she did. She only brought it upon herself. Lily silently swallowed a mouthful of blood, already regretting in her heart that she didn't torture Qin Yazi and Qin Yazi 1,000 times more to get rid of this evil spirit before leaving that mission. Seeing that she had nowhere to express her anger, and by not speaking she was obviously acquiescing to the fact that she was missing. Li Yangzi abnormally made her cry, and then he put her in his arms in a gentle and considerate manner. Li comforted softly. Don't worry, I will check it out for you, don't worry yet, okay. Apart from this method, Lily had no better way. At least hearing that Li Yangzi was willing to help, Lily felt relieved. She also began to feel a little embarrassed about her previous defense against him, and nodded lightly in response. When Li Yangzi kissed her lips again, Lily stopped hiding. She didn't know whether it was gratitude or guilt. She took the initiative to put her lilac tongue over it, and obediently raised her head to accept his kiss. Fortunately, Li Yangzi knew the rules and didn't push her too far. Even though the arm holding her was gradually tightening, he still didn't make any unnecessary moves in the end. After a while, he still let her go into the task. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 393. It's just a fever, where do I need a taxi? Lily was dazed and thought about how she felt like she was being dragged away rudely. Her legs were so weak that she couldn't lift any strength. She was still thinking about the collection she had lost. Now the old blood almost spurted out again. A sharp male voice sounded in her ears. Before Lily had time to reply, she felt herself being pushed up the steps. Then she heard two clicks that sounded like did. When her chest felt so nauseated that she felt like vomiting, she finally sat down. When he reached his position, his head hung on the glass by the window. Women in the city just have weak bodies and get sick at every turn. If the girls in our village are not so delicate all year round, my mother used to have to work in the fields after giving birth to my siblings. In the future, you will marry like this. Our family needs to take good care of their health. A male voice kept chanting in her ear. Lily had been on a mission with a man with a cold personality like Li Yangzi. Leng Hui met such a chatty person, and suddenly feeling a severe headache, she reluctantly opened her eyes and found that she was on the bus at the moment, with medical glue on the back of one hand. Apparently she had just received an 4 drip. Sitting next to her was a man wearing a black down jacket. The young man, who was somewhat thin and wearing glasses, was currently holding his cell phone with his hands folded across his chest as if he was memorizing something. Are you awake? I told you that you will be fine after you put the water on. Your fever is gone. Why are you so fragile? The man turned his head and glanced at Lily. She looked very delicate, but his face was full of impatience. Z's, it's almost the Chinese New Year. My mother called us and asked us to book a flight back quickly, but you just happened to be sick. Lily was so dizzy after being scolded by him, although her fever was gone now. But the sequelae of the cold are still there. She listened to the man's impatient mumbling. I couldn't help but shouted softly, "Shut up." The man seemed to have never thought that she would dare to shut up. He was a little surprised. He turned to look at Lily, silently chose another empty seat and sat there. As soon as the warmth around her left, Lily shivered from the cold. Although the air conditioner was on in the car, there seemed to be snowflakes falling outside. She leaned her face against the window, shivering from the cold. The window was quickly covered with mist, but the world became quiet. The car was shaking, and a lot of plots were flooding into her mind. Lily felt as if someone pushed her twice and said something in her ear, but she ignored it. After a while, the car started moving again until the plots were absorbed. It was already an hour and a half later. "Miss, this bus has arrived at its destination. Are you okay?" The driver frowned and looked at Lily. Lily nodded reluctantly and coughed twice. Fortunately, she still had her purse. She opened it and looked at it. In addition to essential items such as ID, cell phone, and umbrella, she also had a wallet, but it only contained 50 yuan. In this mission, she became a woman named Zheng Beihe. Although Zheng Beihe did not come from a wealthy family, her parents were in business, so the family was relatively well off. Her parents only had her as a daughter since she was a child, and they loved her very much. She left her parents for the first time in college and went to study in another city in China. There she was pursued by a local male classmate named Zhao Sun. After agreeing to Zhao Sun, Zheng Beihe graduated from college and stayed in the city despite her parents' objections. Field. Zhao Sun comes from an ordinary background. He is a local rural person. He has 3 sisters in the family. He is the only male and his family is not well off. Once Lily Zheng starts dating him, Lily Zheng will take care of all his clothes, cell phone, shoes, and socks. Zhao Sun may have been born in a rural area since he was a child, so he paid special attention to money. Zheng Beihe was accustomed to spending money lavishly because he was born in a wealthy family. The two often had conflicts because of this matter, but after graduating from college a few years later, the two got married. The two had already had conflicts before they got married because of their different ideas. However, Lily Zheng loved Zhao Sun too deeply, so she couldn't see the hidden dangers under the marriage. The two still got married. After the marriage, Zhao Sun busy at work, she was very indifferent to Zheng Beihe. Zheng Beihe originally had a good job opportunity, but in the end because they studied the same major, the opportunity was snatched away by Zhao Sun. Zheng Beihe missed the good opportunity, and naturally only got an ordinary job in the end. After working hard for 10 years, I am still just a small clerk. But after Zhao Sun got the opportunity that originally belonged to Zheng Beihe, he continued to rise to prominence. He began to get carried away and had affairs with young and beautiful girls. Zheng Beihe knew this, but he endured it hard. She had not lived well in her marriage for several years. Fortunately, her mother-in-law was bitter and mean. Before getting married, she had been living with her mother-in-law and her family because of the original marriage agreement, and every day was like a year. However, she was never willing to divorce, so she delayed the divorce until she was 30 years old. After Zhao Sun became successful, he began to look down on Zheng Beihe, who was no longer young and beautiful. In addition, he was now in an important position and could earn money. When he looked at his former wife, he only felt disgust. He deceived Zheng Beihe into divorcing her on the pretense that their current property would be demolished, and sweetly promised that once the property was demolished after the divorce, one person would get half of it, so that if the two of them had children in the future, the children would get a better education. After several years of marriage, Zhao Sun had been very careful about contraception. Zheng Beihe had wanted to have a child a few years ago, but Zhao Sun had been trying to excuse her by saying that they were not ready. Now that she heard Zhao Sun take the initiative to bring up the child, Zheng Lili thought without thinking, she agreed, and she divorced Zhao Sun. She was happily waiting for the two of them to remarry and have children after the house was demolished, but half a year later, when she went to Zhao Sun to remarry, I noticed that he was hugging a pot-bellied woman and caring for her carefully. When Zheng Beihe stepped forward to question her, Zhao Sun sneered and told her that he was already tired of her, and convicted her of 10 crimes. He thought she was indulgent and willful, thought she was lavish in spending money, and even more so. He was disrespectful to his parents and inconsiderate to his sisters. He said a lot, and finally Zhao Sun said coldly, "I have never loved you. I have endured enough of this kind of marriage over the years. I have done my best to you, the only thing I'm sorry for you is that I should have divorced you earlier, so as not to drag you to your 20s, when you are old." After Zhao Sun said this, he was as if he was giving a favor, "But I will also compensate you. I will give you 500,000. Please don't pester me again in the future." When the two bought a house, Zhao Sun's family was poor. Zheng Beihe went back and begged her parents for money to buy the house. This was the life savings of Zheng Beihe's parents. When they got married, Zhao Sun asked to buy the house that his parents and sisters also wanted to live in, so he requested the names of his parents and the couple were written on the property. Now that 10 years have passed, the price of the apartment has already increased. The 500,000 that Zhao Sun gave Zheng Beihe was not as much as the money her parents used to buy the house. Thinking about the resentment she had endured in the Zhao family over the years, and then thinking about the grievances she had suffered for Zhao Sun over the years, Lili Zheng was so angry that she started to make trouble with Zhao Sun, but the more she made trouble, the more she watched Zhao Sun's life. Well, he was promoted, and he got a young and beautiful wife. His wife was even pregnant. She was already 30 years old, but she left alone with less than half of the money her parents gave her. Lili Zheng spent the rest of her life depressed and miserable. She could not get out of the shadow of Zhao Sun, but Zhao Sun lived a glorious life. Lili Zheng felt very unwilling. She felt that her life was ruined like this. She didn't understand why a heartless person like Zhao Sun could be prosperous for a lifetime, but she was depressed all her life. Affected by these plots, Lili was inevitably in a gloomy mood. At this moment, she couldn't think about the collection anymore. She had to solve the task at hand first. This was not the first time she met a man like Zhao Sun during a mission. Originally, Lili Zheng believed that feelings were too big for heaven, so she suffered a lot. Lili stood up from the bus and looked at the 50 in her hand. UN, she couldn't help but almost cursed again. At this time, the plot has entered the stage where she and Zhao Sun are about to talk about marriage. At this point, Zhao Sun believes that the money between the two should no longer be divided between each other, so he asked her to hand over her salary card and only work every day. She was given 30 yuan of pocket money, which included food and transportation. The rest of the money was distributed by him, and most of it was handed over to his mother. The 50 yuan in Lili Zheng's hand was saved by her for several days. After getting off the car and finding a taxi, Beihe reported the address of the house she was renting temporarily, and the taxi drove directly there. The weather has suddenly cooled down a lot recently, and the company leaders wanted to give Zheng Beihe a good opportunity, so she suddenly fell ill while busy. She was very ill. Her fever reached 40 degrees last night, but Zhao Sun fell asleep. She had to ignore her at all. Today, Lili Zheng finally took him to the hospital together. When they came back, the two of them quarreled over whether they should take the bus or take a taxi. After returning, Lili Zheng kept having a cold and was not feeling better. On the contrary, it got worse. Zhao Sun ignored her at all, making her condition worse and worse. He took over the work that she had almost finished despite her illness, went to the company leaders and recommended herself, and finally defeated Zheng Beihe and got the job. That job opportunity. When Lily entered the mission today, Zhao Sun took her back from the hospital. When Lily was sitting on the bus to receive the mission, Zhao Sun probably felt that he couldn't wake her up by calling her, so he ignored his seriously ill girlfriend and turned around to talk to her. He left first. Although Lily was not the original owner, she still felt a little chilly in her heart for no reason. We have seen many ruthless and unjust men, but we do not see many men as ruthless and unjust as Zhao Sun. The taxi stopped downstairs in the community. It was just 50 yuan. Lily handed over the money in her purse and took her things and got out of the car. She didn't know if it was because she had a cold that hadn't healed yet, but she still felt a little dizzy. To be continued. P.S. Fourth update. Thanks to Mars Tong, dear he Shivi who gave the reward. Thanks to Ding Xiatong, he Shivi of the ferocious girl Yingying Tong Tong. Thanks to ZXY and he Shivi who gave the reward. Thanks, Pao Mo, dear he Shivi for the reward. Given that the author owes so much suddenly, I have a heavy debt on my head, so I have paid off my debt 4 times in the past few days. I have become slightly smoked. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 394. The house that Zheng Beihe and Zhao Sun rented was an old-fashioned community. The house was big enough and cheap, but the location was far away. When Lily went upstairs with her bag, she heard something from a distance before she even got upstairs. There were loud screams coming from her room, and the sound of the child crying was so high-pitched that her forehead began to hurt. The door of the house was wide open, and a middle-aged woman was holding her child and peeing outside. When she saw Lily coming back, she quickly said, "Lily came back just in time. There is someone in the toilet who can't get in. Daong has a stomachache again. If you want to pull it, you can bring a shovel and broom and tidy this place up." When a middle-aged man sitting in the room heard this, they looked at each other, frowned and stood up. "Dad, sit down, don't worry about it, she will do it by herself." Lily recognized that these were the parents of the original owner. Recently, Zheng Beihe and Zhao Sun had reached the stage of discussing marriage, and the two couples kept coming over. "I came here to marry my daughter, and also to give my daughter money to buy a house. Fortunately, I haven't been able to choose yet. This is also due to Zhao's mother being very picky. She wants a good apartment and a big location. Good reasons. Instead of paying for it herself, Zhao's mother chose a house with good conditions and a high price. It took half a month to make a decision. Lily Zheng in the plot was just because she was tired, had to greet her parents and relatives, and had to be bossed around by the Zhao family. In the end, I collapsed completely from exhaustion. As soon as the middle-aged woman holding the child heard Lily's words, her face suddenly turned gloomy. She turned around and shouted into the room. "Sunur, your wife refuses to help your nephew shovel the shit. Does she dislike us or does it smell bad? You bring out a piece of paper. I'll clean it up myself." The middle-aged woman who spoke shouted and glanced at Lily a few times. Father Zheng, who had just stood up, looked livid and pursed his lips without speaking. Zheng's father and Zheng's mother are not in good health. What Lily Zheng regrets most in the plot is that she didn't have time to be filial to her parents when she was young and willful. Later, she ignored her parents' thoughts for the so-called love and married out of town until her parents died. She also failed to stay aside, and ended up regretting it for the rest of her life. Lily couldn't help but feel a sour feeling in her heart, and subconsciously shouted into the kitchen, "Mom!" Originally, it was Lily Zheng's job to serve the entire Zhao family, but these 2 days when she was sick, the problem fell to Mother Zheng. Now she saw Father Zhao, Mother Zhao, and others sitting in the living room watching TV. In her room the door was wide open, and Zhao Sun's two younger sisters were sitting on the bed in their room playing on the computer. One person was still holding the notebook he borrowed from the company, and Lily's face darkened. "How did you come back? Come back so fast?" Zhao Sun walked out of the study. The door was open, and the chat software on his computer that was open in the room was hopping at the moment. Lily took a look, then I found that the dialog box was open on my computer. Zhao Sun seemed to have noticed Lily's actions and subconsciously opened the door. Although this house is rented in an old community, but the area is not small, with a total of 4 bedrooms and 1 living room. Otherwise, it would not be able to accommodate the large Zhao family. He didn't even look at him, and went directly into the room to take out Zhao Sun, who happened to be in the first grade of junior high school this year. The notebook she was holding in her sister's hand was closed. The girl frowned and was about to turn away, when Lily looked at the cosmetics scattered on the bed. The Zhao family has never regarded themselves as outsiders, once they use Lily Zheng's things. Everyone is a family, but once the interests of their Zhao family are involved, Lily Zheng becomes an outsider again. The way Lily didn't say anything and just packed her things made Zhao Sun look a little ugly. Counting from when they were in school, the two of them had been dating for 4 years. Zhao Sun thought that he had already known Lily Zheng. His heart was touched. Although she was a little willful and eldest, because she gave it to him for the first time, and because she liked him so much, she still listened to him after she lost her temper. Therefore, seeing Lily packing her things now, he was not only calm but also a bit sarcastic. "If you don't say anything, pack your things this time and don't come back again." Zheng's mother came out of the kitchen after hearing the sound. When the Zhao family heard Zhao Sun's words, their faces showed a bit of fun-loving smiles, and they all sat silently. Zheng's father coughed twice and smoothed things over. "Xiao Zhao, if you have something to say, please tell me. You are both about to get married. Why are you getting married? I'm not happy to ask her to clean up our Xiaoyang family. Who would dare to ask for such a wife?" Zhao Sun's sister, who had just held her son in her arms, now handed her son over to her mother and went in by herself. He washed his hands in the toilet and came out, pointed at Lily and said, "I support what my brother said, you shouldn't get such a woman, and you shouldn't get married. Marriage is a major matter, it's not a child's play, how can you say such a thing?" Mother Zheng's face was a little ugly. It was obvious that she was dissatisfied at the moment, but she held it back and said to Zhao Sun, "Xiao Zhao, you also know Lily's character, although sometimes he is a little willful, he is not a. I'm just asking you, how did you come back? Where's your money?" Zhao Sun ignored Mother Zheng's question and instead stretched out his hand towards Lily. "Let me take a look at the 50 yuan in your bag." The bag in Lily's hand suddenly hit him in the face. Maybe he didn't expect that she would do it. Zhao Sun was stunned for a moment and didn't have time to hide, but he was hit straight on. "The money has gone to take a taxi. Take out my salary card." As soon as Lily said this, the Zhao family immediately gathered around like crazy. Even Zhao's father and mother, who had just watched the fun, were furious. Said, "This is outrageous. I have never heard of a woman in the world who dares to hit a man. If you don't take out my salary card today, I'll call the police directly to report that my card has been stolen." Lily ignored the Zhao family and instead looked at Zhao Sun, who was covering his face at this moment, as if he was really hurt by a bag, and sneered. "Don't think I can't do anything to you. If I ask you how you came back, you'll go crazy. Do you still want to get married?" Zhao Sun didn't mention the salary card and kept shouting, "Why don't I ask you one more question? When the car came back, he beat people." Zheng's mother was deeply afraid that the two people would quarrel. She was originally very dissatisfied with the marriage, but since her daughter liked it, no matter how much disagreement the couple had, she hoped that they would live well in the future. Neither she nor Zheng's father was as a local. Her daughter will have to beg for food from the Zhao family in the future. If the relationship breaks down, Lily Zheng will be the one who suffers the consequences. Thinking of this, Mother Zheng had to suppress the anger in her heart and apologized in a low voice. Lily has a high fever. She may be feeling uncomfortable, so she took a taxi. The money is ours. It's your fault. Didn't she get better after getting a needle and an N4? Why should she take a taxi? A few dozen yuan is enough for her to buy medicine. Zhao Sun interrupted Mother Zheng's words. As soon as she said these words, Lily wanted to slap him, but she was too weak to do anything, so she had to kick him hard. She was wearing the popular pointed toe shoes and kicked Zhao Sun. His face showed a bit of pain when the kick hit his leg bone. It was obviously much more painful than the kick that hit him in the face just now, because his face suddenly darkened. The marriage is over, hand over my salary card, Lily said, reaching out to pick up her bag. When Zhao's mother heard this, she felt uncomfortable and a little angry. No. The hotel has booked the wedding invitation and sent it out. If you want to say no, you should have brought it up earlier. Why are you still making trouble now? The Zhao family gathered in a group and stared at Lily, all of them looking unkind. Lily sneered twice, looked at Zhao's mother and said, "What does it have to do with me? I'm not a local, and it's not me who is embarrassed." Her irresponsible words made Mother Zhao tremble with anger. Looking at Lily's careless look, Mother Zhao gritted her teeth in hatred, but there was nothing she could do about her. In the past, Zhao Sun was able to flirt with Lily Zheng only because Lily Zheng liked him, and there were no other conditions. He was not the high-spirited Mr. Zhao later. At this moment, he was not surrounded by beautiful women. Although he secretly has some ambiguous relationships with several women, but on the surface, among a group of women, only Lily is the most worthy of him. Now that Lily categorically said that she would not get married, Zhao Sun began to be frightened. After a jump, he calmed down and couldn't help scolding, "Why are you so crazy?" In the plot, Zheng Beihe and Zhao Sun have been married for several years, and they can guess where he hides his money. This man is extremely suspicious, and his character has extremely low self-esteem, which later turned into extremely arrogant. He does not trust anyone except him. Apart from his mother, he has always been wary of anyone around him. During the 10 years of relationship with Lily Zheng never knew how much money he had saved. If he had money now, he would definitely put it with his mother Zhao. Thinking of this, Lily subconsciously cast her eyes on Zhao's mother. Zhao's mother shivered when she saw her. When she came back to her senses, she saw Lily walking towards her room. Zhao's mother was stunned and subconsciously Lily stretched out her hand to pull her, and Lily looked back at her. "Take out my salary card, otherwise I will call the police immediately and report it as lost." At the beginning, Zhao's mother wanted to pretend to be stupid. When she saw Lily taking out the mobile phone from her bag and dialing the police number, Zhao Sun realized and hurriedly went to grab the mobile phone in Lily's hand. "What are you doing? We are all a family, and you really want to call the police and arrest my mother? I will give you the salary card, and there is no need to get married." He had a gloomy face, and his brows were full of impatience. A beeping sound came from the chat software in the study. Lily suddenly felt that Lily Zheng was blind in the past, such a vulgar, verbose, vicious, and carefree man. Now the more she looked at him, the more displeased she became. In the past, when Lily Zheng had not suffered a big loss, she would still have him as a treasure in her heart. In comparison, Lily thought of the scene when she got along with Li Yangzi in the last mission, and Yun and after seeing the difference, he suddenly looked down upon Zhao Sun more and more. Thanks to Mars Tong, dear he Shivi for the reward. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly votes. Your support is my biggest motivation. P.S. Today there are still 4 updates to pay off the debt. The first update. Book title, The Sharp Plot of the Princess. Introduction, the heroine, the arrogant princess, whose goal is to overthrow the queen mother's family, plot against the emperor, and establish a crown prince. A pair of bare hands stirred up a frenzy, and all the house fights and conspiracies were defeated. Female supporting role, a time-traveling girl who escapes from joy, holding a soy sauce bottle, following the heroine, all kinds of secrets, gossips and beautiful men along the way. It is a joy to watch. Ho ho, all the beautiful men have been taken away by others, but I only have one weird guy. Bullying the female supporting role. Canon Fodder strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 395. Mother Zhao handed over Lily's salary card with a reluctant look on her face, cursing and saying things like "there's no need to get married." Mother Zheng wanted to persuade her at first, but Father Zheng coughed after saying 2 words. The couple stopped talking. Lily simply packed her luggage, asked her parents to collect the supplies in the living room, and then turned around and left the complex. First, she found a small hotel nearby to settle her parents down. Behi called and checked her bank card. As expected, there was no money left in it. Lily Zheng had worked for several years, and as soon as her monthly salary arrived, she was probably transferred by Zhao Sun. Now, Zhao Sun was so wary of her that Lily sneered twice, hung up the phone and turned around to call the landlord. "When I rented this house, I rented it in the name of Zheng Behi. She paid for it in the beginning. Until later, it was always Zheng Behi who signed the contract with the landlord. At this time, the landlord is still keeping Behi in custody for 3 months. After paying the rent deposit, Lily directly discussed with the landlord about returning the rent, and the landlord agreed without saying a word. When renting a house to Lily, the landlord originally thought that Lily would live in the house, but unexpectedly a large group of people came. 3 months ago, when the landlord went to collect the rent, he saw that the house was packed with people and he was a little unhappy. It was just because of the contract that he was too embarrassed to open his mouth and drive people away. Now Lily took the initiative to bring it up, but the landlord wanted it. He made an appointment with Lily to cancel the contract, and refunded the excess rent and deposit. Lily changed hands and took the money to pay again. I had found a new house and had just contacted my future new landlord when Zhao Sun called me before I hung up the phone. "Zheng Behi, why are you so crazy? You gave away the house." Zhao Sun's roar was surprisingly loud. At this moment, even without meeting Lily, she could guess what he looked like. He kept cursing on the other end of the phone, and Lily hung up the phone without thinking. When he called again, Lily directly put him on the blacklist. Zhao Sun had been very cold to her before, and the Zhao family. He asked Lily Zheng to pay attention to everything about people and affairs, but he did not pay attention to Lily Zheng's affairs. He did not save the phone numbers of Zheng's parents. So now that Lily had put him on the blacklist, he suddenly felt helpless. He is a very face-conscious person. Now after Lily hung up on him, he naturally had no shame to tell others that he had been hung up on by Lily, so he calmed down. The room that Lily temporarily stayed in was not far from the house that Lily Zheng rented before. Not long after, looking down from the window, Lily and Zheng's father and mother saw Zhao Sun's family packing their luggage in the community. They were angry. Although they couldn't hear clearly what the Zhao family said due to the distance, they could tell from the expressions on their faces that they were not saying anything nice at this moment. "Ziahe, have you really decided not to marry Xiao Zhao?" Although marriage should not be such a trivial matter, Zheng's mother still felt relieved when she asked this question. The couple only had one daughter, and they also hoped that she would live a good life, but it happened that Lily Zheng was like a ghost in the past, and she wanted to marry Zhao Sun. The Zhao family was obviously not a good match. These days, Lily Zheng is in. Father Zheng and Mother Zheng also saw the status of the Zhao family and were anxious in their hearts. They were worried about it at first, but now they didn't expect Lily to regret it. "Mom, don't worry. I couldn't recognize people well in the past, but I won't be able to recognize them anymore. Lily took Zheng's mother's hand and thought of something in the plot. This time when I go back to pick you up in the city, there are a woman called me and said she had been with Zhao Sun for 2 months. Zhao Sun and Zheng Beihe have always liked to have some ambiguities with other women over the years. In the plot, on the eve of their marriage, when Zheng Beihe returned to his hometown to pick up Zheng's father and Zheng's mother to discuss the marriage, Zhao Sun once brought a girl. The girl came home, but because Zheng Beihe's family was willing to pay for a house and write the names of Zhao Sun and her parents, the other girl was relatively poor, coming from the same village as Zhao Sun, and because her family was too poor, she couldn't get into school. Because she was in college and had a young brother at home, Zhao Sun finally chose Lily Zheng to get married. Lily Zheng didn't know about this matter at the beginning. It wasn't until later in the plot that she accidentally met someone who was related to the Zhao family after her divorce. Others let it slip that she knew about it. All the relatives in the family had seen the girl. It was only because the girl's family was too poor that Zhao Sun finally broke up with her. The Zhao family had been hiding this from Lily Zheng for 10 years. Now Lily thought of this plot. At that time, the original owner still felt a faint feeling of distress in his body. Father Zheng was furious when he heard this. He coughed twice and was about to speak when Lily patted his hand in a comforting manner. If Dad is not angry, I will not marry Zhao Sun. And she will never let Zhao Sun go. Zhao Sun owed money to the original owner in the past, and Lily wants him to pay it back with interest. Whether it is a future of promotion or a happy life later. Maybe it was because she left the Zhao family. Lily Zheng's condition was originally very serious this time. After suffering a stroke in the plot, she still didn't get better for more than 10 days. In the end, it became more and more serious, but Lily felt that in addition to being very unwell at first, her health quickly improved. She was already much more energetic when she came out of Zhao's house in the afternoon. After a good night's rest, she was even more energetic the next day. Lily touched her face in disbelief when she saw her moist and healthy face in the mirror before going to work. Before entering the company elevator, Lily's arm was suddenly dragged by someone. The man's strength was so strong that he dragged Lily back several steps before he could stand still. Lily turned around and saw Zhao Sun with a livid face. His face suddenly darkened. Let go. Why did you get so crazy yesterday? Why did you check out the house? You suddenly checked out. Where will my mother, sister, and the others live? The forced move yesterday should have made Zhao Sun anxious all night. The plot: Zheng Beihe has been dating Zhao Sun for several years and 10 years, and he knows his character well. Whether this person had a fight with Lily Zheng or did something cruel and ruthless, he would see Lily Zheng shed tears without any emotion. When he was helping, he was still able to eat well and sleep well. Seeing that he was in this state just because of a house matter, Lily curled her lips with some disdain. What does it have to do with me where they live? We have broken up and are not getting married. When Zhao Sun heard this, he immediately sneered and said subconsciously, you said you won't get married if you don't want to get married. Where will our face go? We can break up, but you must pay me 100,000 yuan for the loss of youth. It was the rush hour for work, and a bunch of people were waiting in front of the elevator. The relationship between Zhao Sun and Zheng Beihe as a couple is not a secret in the company. The two have been in love since college. Yes, I haven't had any quarrels on weekdays, but now they actually talked about breaking up. Everyone turned their heads and stared at the two of them curiously. Zhao Sun subconsciously stood behind Lily and lowered his voice. You also need to bring the deposit returned by the landlord yesterday. I can give you 100,000 yuan for youth loss. Lily nodded and took out the mobile phone from her bag. I can also give you the deposit refunded by the landlord. Zhao Sun couldn't help but smile when he heard this. She was happy, but before he could speak, Lily continued, over the years, except for the lower salary during the first year of internship, my salary is calculated as 5,000 per month. If you have held my salary card for a total of 4 years, then your total you have to give me 240,000. In addition to the landlord's deposit and the 100,000 youth loss fee, you have to give me 140,000. I have been working as a cow and horse in your family for several years. Even if I am a part-time worker, I should have an income of tens of thousands. In addition, the cheating affair caused me psychological harm, and I have to compensate me 200,000 yuan for the loss of my youth. You're crazy. Zhao Sun had a smile on his face at first when he heard Lily promise to give him money. When he heard that later, his expression turned gloomy and he started to drink sternly. What about an affair and cheating? What about 140,000 yuan? I think you are crazy about money. Sun Xiaojing, you haven't forgotten, have you? Lily suddenly said a name. This Sun Xiaojing was a girl who was brought home by Zhao Sun on the eve of their marriage to Lily Zheng. However, the Zhao family had been hiding this. Zhao Sun was also very scheming. If Lily Zheng hadn't accidentally found out about this 10 years later, she might have never known that such a person existed until her death. A look of embarrassment appeared on Zhao Sun's face. After the secret was revealed, he was a little angry and at a loss. He snorted coldly, turned away, and walked toward the elevator in a panic, warning Lily. I don't know what it is about Sun Xiaojing. Stop trying to catch me up. Now that we've broken up, let's break up. Don't come to me again in the future. It was easy for him to think. The man who had just yelled at Lily that she wanted to break up and had to give him a breakup fee, now felt guilty after hearing that his secret was exposed, but he started to feel happy, but he wanted to be so happy but there was no way. Lily sneered, waited for the elevator on the other side and entered the company. Because Lily's body did not catch a cold for a long time like Zheng Lily this time, naturally the work that was supposed to be handed over to Zhao Sun was not handed over to her, but was completed independently by her. The company originally intended to support Zheng Beihe. Lily Zheng's grades were very good when she was in school. In the plot, Lily Zheng was only taken advantage of by Zhao Sun. After Lily entered the task, she completed the work for Lily Zheng that she had almost finished. The company leaders were satisfied. In the plot, the position of department manager that Zhao Sun later obtained was returned to Lily. To be continued. Canon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 396. During the celebration banquet, many people in the company congratulated Lily, but only Zhao Sun handed in his resignation sourly. He is a proud and arrogant person. Once he thinks that there is something in the company that is not what he likes to change jobs. If it is when he later became famous in his career, some people might rush to take advantage of him when he changed jobs, but now he had only graduated for 2 or 3 years and was unknown. Once he resigned and entered a new company, he would naturally have to start all over again. Impulsively, Zhao Sun didn't think too much. He took the initiative to resign and the company readily agreed. Before leaving, Zhao Sun glanced at Lily's office. Now that Lily has his own separate office after being promoted, Zhao Sun showed hesitation on his face. Finally, he gritted his teeth and entered Lily's office with his things. Inside. If you want to regret it now, it's okay. Zhao Sun stood at the door, glanced at Beihe's office, and finally fell on Beihe. In the years he was with him, Beihe Zheng's salary card had been stolen. The reason he has it in his hands is that Lily Zheng doesn't have any spare money in his hands, so although she is not old, she is not as makeup covered as other women in the office. She is almost always barefaced. The two have been together for many years, and Zhao Sun himself was full of rusticity from the beginning to full of fashion later. Only Lily Zheng wore those old clothes from beginning to end. Without good skincare products, beautiful cosmetics, and clothes, the same face would be tired of looking at it no matter how beautiful it is. In addition, I don't know if it's because of Lily Zheng's obedience to him, so Zhao Sun is used to having this woman. He had long forgotten the uneasiness he felt when he first chased her, and became both contemptuous and disgusted with her. But in just a few days, Zhao Sun suddenly noticed that Lily had changed. She bought beautiful and fitting professional clothes. The air conditioner was turned on in the office. She was wearing a black low-cut long sweater with a brown belt tied around her waist. She stood up, making her slender waist look even more graceful because of her thinness. She was wearing a pair of black stockings. She wears leather boots with stiletto heels that reach to the thigh, and wears a short skirt under a long sweater. Her hair is tied up, and she wears light makeup. This side of Lily has never been shown to Zhao Sun before. Now she is cold. You might as well see that Zhao Sun felt a little surprised. Is there anything else? Lily stood up, took the information and sat back at the table. Without even looking at him from the corner of your eye, she said, please close the door when you go out. This indifferent attitude completely angered Zhao Sun. In the past, Lily Zheng only had eyes for him, which made him feel extremely proud. After a while, he felt a little impatient, but now Lily didn't look at him anymore. Zhao Sun feeling a little dissatisfied, he walked to the desk. He stretched out his hand and patted the table heavily. Lily Zheng, what do you want? You asked for the marriage. What does this mean to us now? We are only a creditor and a debtor now. If you don't understand, I will make a list for you. Lily took advantage of these 2 days of work to go to the bank to adjust her salary slips for the past few years. The card was set up for automatic transfer, and when it came time to pay wages, it was transferred to Zhao Sun's card. Zhao Sun was too suspicious at first and refused to believe her, probably because he was afraid that she would take the card back or regret it. Therefore, with such a ready-made evidence, there is no way to deny it now. Seeing the list that Lily took out, Zhao Sun's face turned green and white. After a while, he said stiffly, you mean, do you want to break up? Just because you were not allowed to take a taxi that day? You are not that seriously ill. Why waste that money on taking a taxi? You can save dozens of dollars in taxi fares, and you can go to the hospital to get some medicine. As Zhao Sun spoke, his voice slowly became louder, as if he had found a reason. You have always been so willful and petty, and you have been quarreling with me all these days over such a trivial matter, and now you are even planning to get married because of it. I won't mention it anymore. The hotel has been booked a long time ago. Why didn't you tell me earlier that you didn't want to get married? How can you get the deposit back now? What's more, a woman is devoted to her work. How can you take care of your family in the future? The man is the master of the house and the woman is the master of the house. It is only natural. If you give me this opportunity, I will have more opportunities to support my family in the future. As he spoke, a look of dissatisfaction and resentment appeared on his face, and the more he spoke, the angrier he became. A woman like you will have to work all her life from now on. It's best that you don't need a man anymore. Lily looked at him coldly, as if looking at a madman. Zhao Sun's words revealed his selfish character. In the plot, Zhao Sun used such an excuse to coax Lily Zheng out of the opportunity. After that, he suffered a loss, but in fact, his so-called male lead outside and his female lead at home did not come true, and his so-called support for the family was never achieved. He did not trust Lily Zheng, and almost all the money he earned later was given to he kept it with Zhao's mother, fearing that after the two divorced, the money would be divided as joint property of the couple. Zheng Beihe, the woman who paid for the house, ended up being like someone else, and lost her promotion because of her illness. After the opportunity, as Zhao Sun became prosperous, the Zhao family even disliked her subsequent salary, thinking that she made too little money. I'll give you 5 bells to go out, Lily said, picking up the phone on the table and calling the security guard. Zhao Sun cursed twice, turned around and looked at Lily fiercely. I didn't expect you to be like this. You are such a selfish and vain woman. If I had known earlier, I would not have been with you. I would have been blind. If I were rich now, I would smash it in your face. After he said this, he went out with a look of resentment and anger. Lily was busy for 2 days in a row because of her new promotion. Lily Zheng could lose love, but she couldn't lose her mind. Until the third day, a package was delivered by courier and placed in Lily's office. Zhao Sun is getting married to Sun Xiaojing, whom he had brought home once when Lily Zheng went back to her hometown to invite her parents over. Zhao Sun was originally a person with extremely low self-esteem and then arrogance. He was the only one among his relatives. A man who went to college, but the bride broke up with her on the eve of her wedding. He couldn't afford to lose this person. The only way to make things right was for him to claim to the public that he had dumped Lily and found another one. Because the two of them had been in this company for several years, the news that Zhao Sun was getting married was out of anger or to show off. He sent wedding candies and wedding stickers to everyone in the office, and everyone looked at Lily with a smile on his face. It was a bit of pity, but no one dared to come forward to persuade Lily at this moment. Lily picked up the invitation and took a look at it. The time she saw on it was half a month later, when she originally made an appointment with Zhao Sun. It's the day to get married. There was a slight feeling of distress in the body of the original owner, which seemed to be faint, but gradually subsided before Lily felt very uncomfortable. In addition to being busy with work during this period, Lily did not take Zhao Sun's marriage to her heart. She dragged Zheng's father and Zheng's mother around the city, preparing to buy herself an apartment. In her plot this time she is not planning to get married. Somehow, after experiencing the marriage with Li Yangzi in the last mission, she now has an instinctive resistance to marrying other people. Even if she knew that she was getting married, Li Yangzi would definitely help her, but Lily didn't want to get involved with anyone in this mission. Anyway, Lily Zheng's wish was not for her to marry a happy man. She just wanted Zhao Sun to pay the price, a man who could make Lily Zheng feel happy results. Zheng Beihe's tragedy happened in the city, and Beihe naturally hoped to end it in the city. She took her father and mother Zheng's fancy to a house and quickly settled on it, and Zhao Sun's wedding finally came to an end. Arrive. The venue for the wedding had already been chosen. When Lily entered the hotel, Sun Xiaojing, the bride, and Zhao Sun, who was wearing a straight suit, were standing in front of the hotel to greet the guests. They were holding wine, wedding candies, and cigarettes in their hands. When he saw Beihe actually showing up with her parents, a look of arrogance flashed across Zhao Sun's face, and Sun Xiaojing on the side couldn't hide her pride. From the beginning to the end, Lily Zheng had never seen this former love rival. This was the first time the two met, but Sun Xiaojing obviously knew her, because when she saw Lily appearing, Sun Xiaojing instinctively pulled Zhao Sun, charmingly voice. "Uncle, my feet are so sore. I got up too early this morning. Why hasn't Jasmine come here yet?" She was still staring at Lily from the corner of her eyes as she spoke. The person in charge of receiving gifts now took a gift list. He came out and asked Beihe to write down his name. Beihe took a pen and wrote 500 on it, and signed Lily Zheng's name, but he didn't take out the red envelope for a long time. The person who was about to receive the gift suddenly looked embarrassed and whispered. "The way. You haven't given me a red envelope yet." The person Zhao Sun invited to help collect red envelopes today was an unfamiliar young man. The two were college classmates for 4 years, and Zheng Beihe had been dating him for several years, and they were talking about marriage. She was very familiar with the relatives of the Zhao family, but in the plot this young man did not appear. He should be Sun Xiaojing's relative. At this moment, he reached out to Lily to ask for a red envelope. Lily spread her hands and laughed. "Zhao Sun owes me hundreds of thousands. Deduct 500 from the debt. I keep my word and have already recorded it." After Lily finished speaking, she smiled and waved the mobile phone in her hand in front of Zhao Sun. Sun Xiaojing's face suddenly turned ugly. "This is the first time I heard that someone went to a wedding banquet without paying." She was not as beautiful as Lily Zheng imagined in the plot. On the contrary, her appearance was just ordinary. But she was such a character at the beginning, but she got involved between Lily Zheng and Zhao Xun. Lily looked at her up and down, and Sun Xiaojing stood firm. He stared at her with his chest raised, looking impatient. Miss Zheng, haven't your parents taught you that you have to pay for attending other people's weddings? To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly votes. Your support is my biggest motivation. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 397. Sun Xiaojing called out Zheng Beihe's surname. Obviously she knew about Zheng Beihe's existence. Even though she knew about Zheng Beihe's original existence, she was still willing to get together with Zhao Xun. Zheng Beihe in the plot originally thought that the Sun Xiaojing and Zhao Xun she is also the victim, and now it seems that one is willing to be beaten and the other is willing to suffer. /U0026. Then have your parents ever taught you not to be the third party when someone else has a girlfriend? There was a sarcastic look on Lily's face, and she glanced at Sun Xiaojing from the corner of her eye. There were many people coming in and out, some came to attend Zhao Xun's wedding, and some were other guests entering the hotel. When they heard this, they subconsciously stopped and stared at a few people. Sun Xiaojing's face suddenly turned red, and her exposed breasts rose and fell slightly. After a long while, she laughed softly. Miss Zheng, I'm joking with you, why are you so serious? My bridesmaid hasn't come yet today, Miss Zheng, you can be my bridesmaid. After saying this, Sun Xiaojing stepped forward and stretched out her hand to pull Lily. Why are you here? Today is the wedding of Zhao Xun and you two have broken up. Did you come here to cause trouble on purpose? There was a bit of resentment and panic in her tone. At this moment, the two of them were very close. To outsiders, it looked like Sun Xiaojing was whispering intimately to Lily. After she said this, she took another deep breath, whispered. I didn't want to compete with you for Zhao Xun, but Miss Zheng, I'm pregnant. The child cannot live without a father. Please help us. There was no mention of Sun Xiaojing's pregnancy in the plot. Perhaps Zhao Xun had already taken care of the matter later. When Lily heard this, in my heart, I just felt that Zhao Xun was hateful more and more. She even looked at Sun Xiaojing with a bad expression. Since Sun Xiaojing knew Zhao Xun had a girlfriend and still wanted to get together with him, and she even had a child with him, it is really interesting that the plot is less than 10 years later, but the scene 10 years later appears in advance. Lily saw Sun Xiaojing's frightened face. Even after putting on heavy makeup, traces of haggard could still be seen under her eyes. It was obvious that she had not lived a stable life during this period, although there was still a look of pride in her eyes. Not completely faded. But it only made her look even more humble. Miss Sun, I wish you a happy relationship with Ak-sun. Don't worry, I will let him go. I will no longer have contact with him in private. Even if he comes to me again in the future, I will not pay attention to him. It turns out that you actually have a child, you should take good care of it in the future. Lily gently smoothed out the 2 strands of curly hair that the stylist specially hung on her cheeks for Sun Xiaojing, and said softly. While looking at Zhao Xun with some reluctance, Sun Xiaojing's whole body tensed up at this sight. Obviously Lily's words neither comforted her nor calmed her down. On the contrary, when she heard Lily's words that the two of them still had contact in private, Sun Xiaojing's expression became very stiff for a moment. Her lips trembled and she lowered her head. The hand holding the wedding candy plate was now tightly clenched into a fist. Her whole body shivered for a while. When she raised her head again, a calm smile appeared on her face. What are you two talking about? Zhao Xun pulled Sun Xiaojing back, hesitated for a moment and then looked at Lily with a livid face. Perhaps he was afraid that Lily would make a fuss in front of everyone and he would lose face later, So Zhao Sun, after hesitating for a moment, he pulled Lily and walked aside. When he reached the corner of the hotel, he let go of Lily, with a gloomy look in his eyes. Why are you still here? Now that it's impossible for us, what are you still here for? And you don't want to if you talk nonsense to Xiaojing about money. The big deal is that I will deduct your salary for the past few years and pay it back to you after deducting food, drink, and room. Although Zhao Sun was a little angry at the beginning that Lily was no longer willing to marry him, he was a person who had a very high self-esteem, and his extreme low self-esteem led to his very inflated self-esteem. Now Lily has dumped him in disguise, but he after Sun Xiaojing got together, he seemed to have found the pleasure of getting rid of Lily. In addition, Sun Xiaojing was pregnant, which pleased his mother very much. In addition, Sun Xiaojing admired him very much, so he gradually felt that it was better to marry Sun Xiaojing than Lily. Although Sun Xiaojing's family is not as rich as Zheng's family, and it is impossible to buy him a house, the child in Sun Xiaojing's belly cannot be exchanged for more money. He has recently changed his job. The future of development is great. Once he takes the position of manager in the future, he will no longer take it seriously, let alone 100,000 or 200,000, even 1 million. Because of this idea, Zhao Sun has completely given up on getting back together with Lily. Now he is afraid that Lily will make trouble and make himself look bad. Today, Lily's behavior of not giving out red envelopes made Zhao Sun feel a crisis. As if he felt that Lily was coming to destroy his family. He thought that the well-behaved and quiet Sun Xiaojing, who was frugal and obeyed him, was far better than the willful Lily Zheng. With such a woman, he would concentrate on his work in the future. There is no need to delay his future for trivial family matters. Zhao Sun feels that even if he pays more than 100,000, it is worth it. Thinking of this, Zhao Sun's expression became firmer. He looked back at Zhao Xiaojing, and then looked down at Lily with a bit of contempt in his eyes. Don't you just want money? Xiaojing is different from you. She is not a money worshipper. You calculated it right at the beginning. After deducting the salary of 240,000 yuan for your food, drink, and accommodation in the Zhao family over the years, you are left with 20 yuan. 10,000, in addition to the 100,000 youth loss fee, I will give you 100,000 before you leave. Zhao Sun now completely regarded Lily as a vain woman who worships money, and even said these words with some contempt. From now on, you and we owe nothing to each other, please don't pester me again in the future. Lily thought about it in her mind, with a hurt look on her face. Sun, why do you use money to calculate our relationship? I don't want money, I like you as a person. When Lily said this, she shuddered all over, and Zhao Sun curled his lips with an expression both a little proud and a little disdainful. Stop talking about this. It's too late to say anything now. I know very well now that the person I want to marry is Xiaojing. I beg you to leave. I'll give you 100,000. Isn't 100,000 enough? In the plot, Lily Zheng paid more than 100,000, but fortunately she came early and did not buy a house. There is no consumption of the next 10 years. What's more, of course Lily wants more than this 100,000. Since Zhao Sun now thought that she was just pretending to be a woman who worshipped money, Lily fell silent after hearing 100,000. Not enough, Zhao Sun's face looked a little ugly. Today is the day of his wedding. If Lily makes a fuss, no one's face will look good. He is a local, and those who came to attend his wedding today are all relatives. Lily is a foreigner. She made such a big fuss that she might as well leave, but he couldn't leave. A fire arose in his heart, and he felt that he had been blind before, to have been with such a vicious woman for so many years. Zhao Sun coldly uttered a cry. Just as she was about to speak, Lily said softly, I only want my salary, Sun, I want my salary for those years. Lily deliberately spoke in a low voice. He moved closer to Zhao Sun and turned his head to look at the hotel door. At this moment, Sun Xiaojing was staring here with a nervous look on her face, her hands turned into fists, looking nervous and unwilling. She could hold it in for a while, but Lily was also a woman, and she knew that Sun Xiaojing, the reason she could hold back at this moment was probably because she had just acquired Zhao Sun, and she didn't dare to make a scene and annoy Zhao Sun. If one day Sun Xiaojing accumulated more negative emotions in her heart, and once they exploded, that would be the time for real fun. Thinking of this, Lily's smile became even more joyful, with a somewhat intimate gesture on her face, but she whispered, "Don't mention the loss of youth to me." "Who doesn't have youth? I am still unwanted by you." The man with the face has been delaying for several years. "It's my turn to ask for youth loss compensation. You took so much money from me before. If you don't take it out, I will lead my parents to ask you for it every day. Anyway, I am not a local, so noisy. The worst case scenario is that I'll leave as soon as possible, but it's not certain whether your Zhao family will be in the limelight locally. You had a child with Sun Xiaojing behind my back, and now you're eager to get married? If you don't spend 200,000, I'll let you go if you rest from now on." Zhao Sun could afford 200,000, but he was just unwilling to spit out the fat in his mouth, but Lily's words hit his weaknesses every time. He was a local, and he is also preparing to develop in the city, and he cannot let it be ruined by Lily Zheng. Now the company he signed has promised that as long as he can negotiate the contract, he will be given 100,000 kickbacks. Lily Zheng's original salary, he saved it all with Zhao's mother, and now he has nearly 300,000. Originally, he wanted to use the money to buy a house in the city as a down payment. Now that Lily is going to make trouble, the money will definitely not be saved, but at least 100,000 can be left. As long as he still has a job, he will just work hard in the future. After leaving Lily Zheng, a woman who makes him tired, he can concentrate on his work. One day he can earn 2 million back. After comparing it in his mind, Zhao Sun gritted his teeth and nodded, "Okay, I'll give you 200,000, take it and get out, and don't bother me again in the future." Lily nodded readily. Of course she would not bother Zhao Sun in the future. She would only take revenge on Zhao Sun. The two quickly went to the hotel and asked for paper and pen. Both parties made a treaty and signed it. In order to prevent both parties from going back on their word, they also stamped their fingerprints to avoid long nights and dreams. Zhao Sun was deeply afraid that Lily would have to stay at his wedding. At this moment, he felt unhappy when he saw Lily, so he asked Zhao's mother to take her to the bank to transfer money immediately. Zhao Sun waited until Zhao Sun when he received the news on his mobile phone that 200,000 yuan had been transferred from his bank card. A flash of regret suddenly flashed in his heart. However, when he saw Sun Xiaojing and her belly, Zhao Sun suppressed the regret. Go down. He still has a job, and he will make more money in the future. He can't get rid of Lily, a vicious woman, even if he doesn't want to part with the 200,000 yuan. He thinks it's worth spending money to buy peace and tranquility for the rest of his life. To be continued. P.S. Belated 4th update. I feel like my hands are starting to cramp. 4 updates will continue tomorrow. Thanks, Mars Tong, dear He Shivi, for the reward. Thanks to Ong Tao Tao Mao, Heshabai, who gave the reward. Yesterday's 4th update, Pow. Mo, dear He Shivi rewards. Today's 4th update, Instant Kill Potato, Heshabai rewarded by Hanji. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 398. She got back most of her salary card. Although she didn't get all the money back, at least Lily took the first step to vent her anger for Lily Zheng. She invested all the 200,000 into a new house. During the decoration, there were about 2 months during which Lily was busy with work and the decoration of the new house. She did not go to Zhao Sun for trouble. She just heard from her colleagues that he had entered a new company and was quickly recognized by his boss. This is the time to work hard. Because Zheng Beihe and Zhao Sun studied the same major at the beginning, and entered the same industry after graduation, their circles were very small and they almost had the same friends and classmates. Lily easily found out about Zhao Sungzhen's new life. The phone number was the same as the one she contacted. After the decoration of her house was completed and she had some free time, she began to send messages to Zhao Sun non-stop. The messages she sent at first were like nothing, but Lily was not discouraged, and then she started calling Mother Zhao. Mother Zhao was originally very unhappy with her because she took away 200,000 yuan, but Lily seemed to listen. The cynicism in Zhao's mother's words is just as obvious. She harasses the Zhao family all day long as there is nothing wrong. Even if Zhao Sun's eldest sister sends her son to kindergarten, she will also go to the kindergarten to see what Lily Zheng has taken care of in the plot. But it was a pity that she didn't like her child very much in the end. Lily Zheng in the plot also did such crazy things, but at that time Lily Zheng did it because she wanted to save Zhao Sun, but what Lily wanted to do at this time was to make Zhao Sun's family uneasy. Her actions were this soon made the Zhao family restless. Zhao's mother often became nervous when she heard the phone ringing. Even Zhao Sun's eldest sister did not dare to send her son to kindergarten again. Instead, I was thinking about changing my son's school. Zhao Sun had warned Lily at first. But it was of no use at all. In the plot, Lily Zheng couldn't help herself when she made such a move. She was already sad and desperate at that time, and ended up with nothing at the age of more than 30 years old. The husband she relied on became someone else's man. The Zhao family, which she thought was hers, finally accepted another woman. Zhao Sun happily waited to become a father, but the woman who got him pregnant was not Zheng Beihe. When Lily contacted the Zhao family when she couldn't control herself, she actually wanted to beg the Zhao family to let her go back. She had paid too much for the Zhao family. Later, she became unwilling to have love, not to mention family affection, and a habit. At that time, she was desperate, and Lily was completely different at this time. At this moment, Lily has her own house, which has even been renovated. She can move in as long as it remains vacant for a while. Without a large family like the Zhao family, she doesn't have to act like a cow and just look at other people's faces. You don't have to clamp your tail to be a human being, you can still make the Zhao family on tenterhooks when you are bored. This situation is completely reversed from Lily Zheng's situation in the original plot. In addition to having a pregnant son Xiaojing, Zhao Sun now has a career that has just started, and he also has to fight for a house, unlike in the plot where Lily Zheng did it for him in one go. Recently, a contract fell into the hands of Lily. Lily had to work overtime until nearly 2 o'clock in the morning every day. She was a little tired from work. Lily picked up the mobile phone beside her, showed a few malicious smiles at the corners of her mouth, and dialed Zhao mother's phone number. From Zheng Beihe's memory, she knew that Zhao's mother never had the habit of turning off her phone. Zhao's mother was poor in her early years. In her later years, when her son became successful, she was deeply afraid that others would not know that she used a mobile phone. 24 The phone had never been turned off during the hour. Lily looked at the time. It was already 12:30. The Zhao family always went to bed early. Zhao's mother should have fallen asleep long ago. She called her about 7 or 8 times. Finally, someone picked up the phone, and Mother Zhao rang in a tired and ferocious voice. Zheng Beihe, why are you calling in the middle of the night? No one would be in a good mood if they were woken up in the middle of their sleep, just when they were having a good dream, especially Zhao's mother, who is not young at all. After being woken up, it is difficult to fall asleep again. Decades of living habits have allowed her to form her own fixed biological clock. She will definitely go to bed at 10 o'clock, and will slowly fall asleep around 10:30. It was a little past 12:30 when she was sleeping soundly, but Lily called her, which scared her a lot naturally. Her tone was not good at this moment. Mother Zhao suppressed the urge to curse. Impulsively, he sat up resentfully. What are you going to do? You and our Zhao Sun have broken up. Zhao Sun has married another wife and won't want you anymore. A slight smile appeared at the corner of Lily's mouth, but she suppressed it. There was a sarcastic look in her eyes, but she said a little aggrievedly. What did Auntie say? I just want to ask if your health has been better recently. Didn't you say that you were not in good health some time ago? I saw in the newspaper that there is a medicine to cure the disease you mentioned. Auntie can go check it out. What Zhao's mother said last time about her poor health was sheer nonsense. When Lily called her last time, she wanted to hang up the phone and made a random excuse. Unexpectedly, she shot herself in the foot. Although Lily gave her a call in the middle of the night. The phone call woke her up, but she was thinking about her own health. Mother Zhao was really in pain and couldn't express her pain at the moment. She said twice and was about to hang up the phone, but Lily stretched out her hand to hold the phone and put it on the bed. I found a useful Chinese medicine prescription for Alzheimer's disease and said loudly. Auntie, please find a piece of paper and take notes. I will read the recipe to you. No need. Before Mother Zhao could finish her words, Lily had already begun to read to herself. Mother Zhao was so annoyed by her that she had no choice but to listen patiently and listen to Lily read a lot of Chinese herbal medicines. Originally she was just talking nonsense when she said she felt uncomfortable, but now she really felt a little uncomfortable. After listening for a long time, the last trace of sleepiness disappeared. Lily estimated that the time was almost up, so she whispered. It's getting late. Auntie, you should go to bed early. You have to take the prescription I just mentioned often for the best effect. After saying that, he hung up the phone without hesitation. Mother Zhao was left completely sleepless, almost so angry that she smashed the cell phone in her hand that she usually regarded as a treasure. Being disturbed like this at night, Mother Zhao naturally couldn't sleep. She sat for a while and watched TV for a while. The more she thought about it, the more angry she became. She thought that Lily would wake her up in the middle of the night and make her sleep restless. She has to wait until after 3 o'clock to call Lily, so that she can't sleep peacefully. After finally staying up until almost 3:30, Zhao's mother bitterly took her mobile phone and dialed Lily's number. Unexpectedly, she heard on the phone you dialed has been turned off. Anger boiled in Mother Zhao's chest, she almost spit out a mouthful of blood, and kept cursing Lily. Mother Zhao was so angry that Lily finished her work in advance and turned off her phone before going to bed. When she woke up the next morning, she opened her phone in high spirits and saw several text messages on her phone. Before she could open the text messages, Zhao Sun's phone number came over. Zheng Beihe, are you crazy? Why are you harassing my family for nothing? Didn't we agree at the beginning that we would give you 200,000 yuan, and from now on, it will be a bridge back to the bridge, and everyone will stop contacting us? Zhao Sun was so angry that she wanted to vomit blood. Mother Zhao couldn't sleep all night after being harassed by Lily yesterday. She finally felt a little sleepy until almost dawn. She was older but not as young as she was when she was young. She couldn't bear the torment like this. In the morning, when Zhao Sun woke up with a gloomy face, he complained to him. I didn't harass your family, did I? Son, although we have broken up now, we can still be friends after breaking up. Many friends have many paths. I am caring about your family, and I am kind-hearted. I copied the prescription for your mother. Lily sorted out her information and said to Zhao Sun in a few words, okay, I'm going to wash my face and brush my teeth. If I have anything to do, we'll talk after get off work. Bye. Before hanging up the phone, Lily vaguely heard Sun Xiaojing on the other end of the phone asking, Uncle, are you still talking to Miss Zheng after get off work? The following words were a little unclear. Sun Xiaojing's voice was still thin and soft, and she didn't seem to be angry. However, from the scene of her demonstration with herself at the wedding that day, Lily could tell that this woman was not her performance. He comes out so generous and gentle. How could a truly generous and gentle person insert himself between lovers and conceive a child for the man even though he knows that the other person already has a girlfriend? She was holding back at the moment, probably just because Zhao Sun could make money, and because she had a poor background and was disliked by the Zhao family. She felt inferior in front of Zhao Sun. And one day, as long as the emotions in her heart overwhelm these low self-esteem, she will explode. As the saying goes, if you don't die in silence, you will explode in silence. Sun Xiaojing is a scheming woman. She can be pregnant this time. Having sex with Zhao Sun's child and making him agree to marry her was naturally impossible for a woman to be willing to die in silence. To be honest, Lily was really looking forward to her outburst. When she was working during the day, she had nothing to do and called Zhao Sun's sisters. Lily spoke with concern, asking Zhao Sun's younger sister if she was tired from studying, and asked Zhao Sun's eldest sister if it was hard to take care of the children. This situation made everyone in the company who came in to deliver documents to her at noon glance at Lily several times. They both felt a little sympathetic to Lily, a boss who seemed to be a lovelorn person in everyone's eyes, and felt that Lily's behavior was generous. Incredible. Manager Zheng, Zhao Sun is already married to someone else. Why do you still care about the Zhao family's affairs? The subordinate couldn't hold it back and asked Lily, you are too generous. If it were me, give him 2 slaps and tell him to roll as far as he wants. To be continued. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 399. Lily couldn't help but laugh slightly. It was too early to say whether she was generous or not. She didn't want to slap Zhao Sun twice and tell him to go away. She wanted to make Zhao Sun's family difficult for the rest of his life. And, it's hard to succeed in your career, only then can you calm Lily Zheng's anger. Originally, Lily felt angry after entering the mission this time. Her collection disappeared inexplicably. She had an inexplicable and complicated relationship with Li Yangzi in the last mission. Now she entered the mission and actually encountered her. Zhao Sun was such a disgusting man. If he didn't take the opportunity to vent his anger, Lily would be afraid that she would hold it back. She would make phone calls to harass the Zhao family when nothing happened, and occasionally send some messages to Zhao Sun deliberately at night, telling him nonsense such as asking him to pay attention to his health. Soon, half a year later, it was time for Lily to move to a new home. It was set in half a month, and during this time Zhao Sun's wife Sun Xiaojing was also going to give birth. I heard that the due date was within this month. It is now early June, and the weather is gradually getting hotter. 2 months ago, Lily completed a large order for the company and was successfully promoted to another level. Now she has become the top leader of this department in the company. Not only, however, her salary has increased by half, and she has a lot more time than before. She has an assistant, and she no longer has to do everything herself as before. Thinking that Zhao Sun's little sister was about to catch up with the college entrance examination recently, and while she had nothing to do on the weekend, Lily simply I got up early in the morning and said hello to my parents, went to the bookstore and bought some review materials for high school students, took a taxi and rushed to the house that Zhao Sun temporarily rented. Zhao Sun has a wife and even a child soon, but now he still rents a house. If he wants to buy a house in this first-tier city by his own ability, he will have to work hard for at least several more years. The house that the Zhao family rents is not big, it is a half-new elevator room, and there is not even a community. Lily, when she went upstairs and knocked on the Zhao's door, it was Zhao's mother who opened the door. As soon as she saw Lily, her face darkened, she was angry and helpless. What are you doing here again? In the past 6 months, Lily seemed to be haunted by the Zhao family. Although Lily Zheng had behaved like this in the past, Lily Zheng still had some sense of self-respect. After being severely humiliated by Zhao Sun on the phone several times, she hid and cried, even if she was unwilling to come to the door. The Zhao family was humiliated, but Lily was different. She was just pestering the Zhao family for fun. The Zhao family was used as a way to kill time and a punching bag. The more Zhao Sun became furious, the more she enjoyed watching it, so she didn't pay attention to the Zhao family's bad looks at all. At this moment, Zhao's mother looked like she had eaten shit. The ordinary scene not only failed to embarrass her, but actually made Lily couldn't help but laugh. I heard that third sister is about to take the college entrance examination. I bought some review materials and sent them to her. Where is Zhao Sun? Are you at home? When she heard that she was delivering review materials to her daughter, Mother Zhao paused, and Sun Xiaojing's voice rang in the room, "Mom, are there any guests?" At this moment, Sun Xiaojing's voice was no longer as sweet as before. Instead, it was filled with a bit of unspeakable irritation, but it seemed to be forcibly suppressed. Lily's actions in the past 6 months still planted a shadow of doubt in her heart. Lily glanced into the room through the open door, and she happened to be wearing a nightgown. Sun Xiaojing's eyes met with Sun Xiaojing, who had a big belly and a swollen face. There was a bit of hostility in Sun Xiaojing's eyes. Women in the late stages of pregnancy are not very beautiful. In comparison, Lily dressed up carefully today and put on light makeup. She looked extraordinarily spirited. Sun Xiaojing instinctively felt a sense of inferiority and vigilance. As soon as she saw Lily, she couldn't help but said loudly, "What are you doing here?" Sun Xiaojing is also a woman herself. She also used entanglement to win over Zhao Sun. She was not from a good background and her family conditions were not good. It took a lot of effort to win over Zhao Sun because her husband was from another woman. After snatching her husband from her hands, Sun Xiaojing was also afraid that one day someone would snatch her husband away from her. She was very uneasy to begin with. In addition, she also had a low self-esteem. She usually did not dare to tell Zhao Sun if she had something she kept in her heart. In addition, pregnant people have a lot of emotional ups and downs, but she still has to endure it. As time goes by, her temper becomes more and more violent, but she doesn't notice it. Lily has not lost contact with Zhao Sun in the past 6 months, and Lily often calls Zhao's mother and others, which makes Sun Xiaojing feel an instinctive fear. She does not want her life to be ruined by Lily. Even though her current life was snatched away after destroying a woman, she didn't dare to mention it to Zhao Sun. When she saw Lily and Sun Xiaojing, she almost went crazy and wanted to drive her away. "You go, the Zhao family doesn't welcome you, Zhao Sun doesn't love you anymore, he loves me, so why are you here?" At this moment, Sun Xiaojing was not at all the cute and sweet person that Zhao Sun said before, but was a little crazy. She screamed like this, and the person who lived across the door opened the door and looked over. Zhao's mother, although she didn't like Lily either, she felt that Sun Xiaojing was a little embarrassed at this moment. Mother Zhao originally valued face most, and she was afraid that others would see her joke, so she quickly turned around and scolded Sun Xiaojing. "Okay, she's here to give third sister some review materials. Who are you coaxing? It has nothing to do with third sister whether she wants to review the materials or not. It's clear that she has ulterior motives and wants to seduce Zhao Sun." Sun Xiaojing was so angry that she was trembling all over. She even dared to shout loudly at Zhao's mother. They started shouting, "Let her go. I don't want to see her. Get out with her information. Third sister doesn't know how to buy any information she wants. If she wants to buy it to show her courtesy, it's not like her share is missing. I failed the exam." In anger, Sun Xiaojing spoke eloquently. She said that Lily was nothing. Even if her attitude was a little more aggressive, Zhao's mother might be a little more tolerant because she was pregnant. But she said that Zhao Sun Xiaojing's sister could not go to college, which was like touching Mother Zhao's back pain, making Mother Zhao feel a little uncomfortable. Just seeing Sun Xiaojing's belly, Mother Zhao moved her lips, with a gloomy face. Talk. Oh, forget it, Auntie, since Miss Sun doesn't want to see the study materials I gave to third sister, forget it. Anyway, I think third sister can get into a good school without reviewing. Lily gave a few words of false advice. Sun Xiaojing had been holding back a lot of anger in her heart these days. Now when she heard Lily's words and looked at the contemptuous look on her face when she squinted at her, she always felt that Lily had some ill intentions no matter how she looked at her. In anger, Sun Xiaojing said angrily. You don't need to worry about whether you can pass the exam. Okay, Zhao Sun's sister's college entrance examination is just 2 days away. Zhao's mother was already worried about this matter. Sun Xiaojing still failed the exam and the other failed. Isn't this deliberately causing trouble for herself? Mother Zhao couldn't bear it and dragged Sun Xiaojing, go back to the house quickly. Let her go before I leave. What kind of study materials are there? I think you just came to see Zhao Sun. You are shameless. Zhao Sun doesn't want you anymore and you are still pestering us. Are you so in need of a man, huh? Sun Xiaojing cursed loudly, and several families opened their doors. Lily didn't live here, so the commotion had no impact on her, but Mother Zhao couldn't stand being laughed at by her neighbors. Now the son angrily pinched Sun Xiaojing. I told you to shut up and not listen, right? I told you that Lily Zheng came here to deliver information. You don't like the information she sent. Why didn't you see you go out to earn money to buy some information for me, third sister? How can I go out to make money with the flesh and blood of the Zhao family in my belly? Sun Xiaojing felt a little aggrieved when she heard this. If Zhao's mother scolded her like this in private, Sun Xiaojing would still grit her teeth and even make a playful smile. She tried her best to coax Mother Zhao into submission, but Mother Zhao made it difficult for her to get off the stage in front of Lily. Sun Xiaojing was already angry, but now she turned around and started arguing with Mother Zhao. Lily looked at the two mother-in-law and daughter-in-law in front of her who seemed to have a cordial relationship before, but now the two sides were getting more and more quarrelsome, and they were obviously really angry. It was not in vain that she got up early in the morning to buy books and go through all the trouble. Came here for a long time to watch the excitement. She pretended to break up the fight, but she didn't expect that it would be better if she didn't say anything. Breaking up the fight was like adding fuel to the fire, and made Zhao's mother even more annoyed. After a while, not only the people next door were disturbed, but also the people in the house. Zhao Sun, who rarely slept in, was forced to get up. Now he was working hard to achieve his career. He worked overtime very late every night. It was rare for him to have a rest on weekends, but he had to get up because of a quarrel between two women. When Lily saw that she had almost lit the fire, she found an excuse and ran away. Mother Zhao and Sun Xiaojing were so angry at the moment that no one cared whether she left or not. Until they entered the elevator, Mother Zhao said sharply. The sound also spread into the elevator, and Lily's smiling face was reflected in the elevator. The noise like this is just the beginning. Half an hour later, as soon as Lily returned home, her cell phone rang. As soon as she connected, Zhao Sun said angrily. Zheng Beihe, what do you want to do? It doesn't matter to you whether my third sister wants to take the college entrance examination? Are you happy because my family is in trouble? Why didn't you realize that you are such a vicious woman before? Zhao Sun said on the phone, cursing non-stop. Lily threw the phone aside, changed her clothes and washed her face. When she picked up the phone, she saw that it had not been hung up, and Zhao Sun was still cursing. Why don't you speak? Are you too embarrassed to talk anymore? Such a long-winded and top-notch man, Lily Zheng actually fell into his hands in the plot. Lily sneered twice and hung up the phone directly. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly votes. Your support is my biggest motivation. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Juan ERWR. Chapter 400. After so many days of trouble, Lily was tired of all these methods. Sun Xiaojing looked like she was about to give birth now. Lily was not ready to go to Zhao's house in person again. She found an opportunity to dress up before moving to a new home. After some research, I went to a small private bar without a license. After I checked in, I checked out a love site. I registered first and then posted a message, I am looking for a one-night stand with a local girl in the same city. She must be clean and beautiful. If she is satisfied, she will send a gift. After sending these words, Lily left Zhao Sun's mobile phone number. In addition, Lily also posted several messages about Zhao Sun on some blind dates. Bachelor's degree graduate, 26 years old, with a stable job and development prospects, fair skin and tall appearance are required. The best mature woman, looking for the one in her heart. After doing all this, Lily turned off the computer. At this time, there were about 30 computers in the private bar that were almost full. After seeing a few people waiting to get in, Lily quickly paid and took advantage of the situation. The person's attention slipped out. After returning home, she printed out nearly 20 flyers for sewer and unlocking services, and found an opportunity to post them near Zhao Sun's current address at night. After doing all this, Lily threw Zhao Sun behind her. Half a month later, when she moved to a new house and invited her colleagues to play at home, Father Zheng and Mother Zheng greeted her subordinates with smiles on their faces. Everyone was displaying fruits and other things they had brought, when suddenly there was a young girl then said, "Sister Beihe, have you heard that Zhao Sun has been in bad luck recently?" It was originally a pleasant atmosphere, but when they heard the girl mention Zhao Sun, everyone glanced at Lily subconsciously. Father Zheng's face was also a little ugly, and he still had a fruit-cutting knife in his hand. At this moment, his movements also stopped. Lily had long been looking forward to hearing about Zhao Sun's bad luck. Naturally, it was not as the girl imagined. He would normally fall out, but instead ask with some interest, "Oh, why is he so unlucky?" The girl herself had some regrets when she mentioned Zhao Sun, fearing that Lily would fall out. Now, not only was she not angry, but her face looked very calm. He breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing Lily asking about it, he immediately poured out the latest news about Zhao Sun like beans from a bamboo tube. Some time ago, I heard that Zhao Sun's wife had given birth to a son. The Zhao family was quite happy to have a son, but they didn't expect that Zhao Sun seemed to be caught by his wife while he was messing around outside. I heard that he stepped on several boats. Even a few of them were deceived by Zhao Sun in the name of blind dates. Ever since Lily Go Bar released Zhao Sun's basic information half a month ago, his mobile phone number has been blown up. A young, promising man like him, who is not too bad looking, has appeared. On the blind date and one-night exciting love website, it naturally attracted a lot of people's attention, especially when Lily left a message on the website saying she was willing to give her a gift if she was satisfied. People ask Zhao Sun out to meet him all day long. In addition to some women who are already old enough to get married, there are also some boring women. Zhao Sun's phone kept ringing every day, with people on blind dates, looking for a one-night stand, and even unlocking doors through sewers. When he got home, messages kept flashing, which made him extremely annoyed and at the same time on the verge of tears. Many times when he was at the company, even if the leader wants to find him, he may not be able to make a call. Because his mobile phone was sometimes busy with calls from others, Zhao Sun initially thought it was someone else who made the wrong call. But after receiving dozens of such calls in one day, Zhao Sun felt that something was wrong. In addition, he missed calls from several important customers of the company. The leader was very angry and talked to him once. Zhao Sun felt that something was wrong. There is also pain that cannot be expressed. People who work in their industry cannot easily change their phone numbers, and it is impossible not to answer calls from strangers, because the stranger may be one of your customers. He has stayed up for a few days and is exhausted at the company during the day. No matter how much he told others that he was not on a blind date looking for excitement, no one believed it at all. These callers popped up like chopped leeks. Sun Xiaojing soon realized something was wrong when she returned home. Although Zhao Sun's phone was muted, the messages kept flashing. If Bei hadn't deliberately misled Sun Xiaojing into suspecting things before, Sun Xiaojing might have reluctantly endured and believed in Zhao Sun. But with Bei's previous actions, Sun Xiaojing instinctively felt wary. While Zhao Sun was taking a shower, she looked through his mobile phone. There were some messages on it that she hadn't had time to delete. "What, brother, I'm waiting for you to make an appointment tonight. My name is Anna, or yes, I am 27 this year, about the same age as you, and have a formal job. If you are interested, we can meet." Sun Xiaojing almost went crazy after seeing the information. She had just given birth to a baby, and Sun Xiaojing's mood was not quite right when she was pregnant. In addition, after Sun Xiaojing gave birth to her son, she thought she had support in the Zhao family, and she no longer felt uneasy and unsettled like before. Thinking that she was a great contributor to the Zhao family for giving birth to a son, she slowly felt a little more confident in her heart. Thinking of the anger she suffered when she was pregnant, Zhao Sun still dared to mess around outside. Sun Xiaojing waited for Zhao Sun to finish taking a shower. He came out and took out his cell phone to question him. An arrogant man like Zhao Sun didn't like women meddling in his own business. The reason why he was willing to pay 200,000 yuan to break up with Lily and marry Sun Xiaojing was because Sun Xiaojing was very humble in front of him. At this time, Sun Xiaojing he dared to look at his cell phone. He had been having a hard time recently. After the birth of his son, he was not as satisfied as he imagined. Because of the unsatisfactory work, he had to face the crying of his child and the sound of the house filling the house when he returned home. The smell of milk powder, diapers, etc., all this made him angry who was not ready so quickly. Naturally, the two sides started to quarrel. Sun Xiaojing, who Zhao Sun thought was cute and weak before the marriage, became fierce this time when she thought she had someone to rely on. The more the two of them quarreled, the more fierce they became. At first, it was just a joke, but later they became violent. The two sides almost started fighting. In the company, Zhao Sun delayed several calls from the company leaders because of too many personal calls. As time went by, the leader who had intended to re-employ Zhao Sun became unhappy, and the work that was originally assigned to him was slowly transferred back. After half a month, Zhao Sun's work suddenly became much freer, at his age. Leisure is not a good thing. He originally had hope of climbing up, but by being so noisy every day, he slowly missed the opportunity. In this industry, the competition is already very fierce. Every year, more and more newcomers want to climb up. Zhao Sun's original position is being stared at. Now if he relaxes and makes a mistake, many newcomers will rush forward. After dividing all the work in his hands, the boss began to bully him overtly and covertly, and even started to let Zhao Sun take the blame. Zhao Sun was already arrogant, and out of tolerance, he decided to resign and leave again. "Is Zhao Sun unemployed at home now?" Lily asked when she heard that Zhao Sun had ended up like this. She laughed so hard that she could hardly close her mouth. The girl who spoke nodded, with a look of sympathy on her face. Zhao Sun must have offended someone this time and got him punished. He called the police and found out. The number seems to have been posted on some unscrupulous sites, and the phone number has also been used to register for a blind date site. It's a pity that the bar Lily chose originally was Jianhe. The most the police could do was ask the owner of the bar to make rectifications, but they couldn't find anything at all. There were so many people there that day, and the boss couldn't remember Lily's appearance, and the black bar didn't require an ID card, so Zhao Sun naturally suffered a big loss. What made him most depressed was that his phone number was because after working for several years, he saved many other people's phone numbers. Others have also saved many of his phone numbers, and these numbers are contacts. He didn't dare to change his phone number easily, so at most he deleted the information on the previous website, but in the end he suffered the loss of being dumb again. Lily laughed so hard in her heart that she almost shed tears. When she heard that Zhao Sun had such an ending, she felt like she was filled with anger. However, this was not enough. Zhao Sun had caused Lily Zheng such misery in the plot. Now, this is just the beginning. When he had a job, he could act like an uncle in front of Sun Xiaojing. Now, once he no longer has a job, he seems to have taken off the mysterious aura around him, and Sun Xiaojing can no longer respect him. She can't be afraid. The most important thing is that Sun Xiaojing developed a suspicious character because of being teased by Lily when she was pregnant. She was hooked up by Zhao Sun in the first place, and now she is also afraid that one day someone will use the same method as her. Zhao Sun was hooked up with his own tricks, so he was extremely strictly controlled. People like Zhao Sun have extremely low self-esteem and then become very arrogant. He even thinks that someone was jealous of Xian Liang and wanted to harm him at the beginning. Now after resigning, he still thinks that the company does not keep anyone here, but him. At home, Sun Xiaojing dared to make trouble with him like this, as if it made him feel that his dignity had been violated. Of course he felt unhappy. He wanted to treat Sun Xiaojing like he treated Lily Zheng. The two couples often quarreled constantly. Sun Xiaojing was originally in a good mood when she was pregnant. She was very depressed. After giving birth, during the confinement period, the two of them almost got into a fight over the blind date with Zhao Sun's number, which left very serious sequelae. Her personality seemed to be a different person from before. Now, if Zhao Sun treated her coldly again, she would naturally not be able to bear it. There are fewer doormats like Zheng Beihe in the world. Sun Xiaojing endured it at first, but later found out that Zhao Sun was not as capable as she thought. After she gave birth to another child and he could not file for divorce from her, she became more at ease. She was determined to make trouble with Zhao Sun. Zhao Sun was flustered by her troubles all day long, and the Zhao family began to panic. The situation was even so serious that Zhao Sun had insomnia and could not concentrate on finding a job. At this point, for the sake of his future, Zhao Sun instinctively thought of the time when he broke up with Beihe because he felt it was not suitable for him. He also had the idea of divorcing Sun Xiaojing. In addition, his daily life was unsatisfactory. The work was not happy. He turned his mind to the internet again as before, and hooked up with another girl again, but this time Sun Xiaojing was not as easy to bully as Zheng Beihe before. Sun Xiaojing refused to divorce, and threatened Zhao Zhao at every turn. Zhao Sun wanted to commit suicide by jumping off the building with his son in his arms. Zhao Sun was frightened several times and became a little timid. The final divorce battle caused an uproar among Zhao Sun's entire work circle and colleagues. Zhao Sun used his own I had saved the money from working over the years to pay for a down payment on a house, but I divorced Sun Xiaojing. He is almost 30 years old. He has been divorced once and has a child. He still has nothing and his work is even more unsatisfactory. Completely opposite to him, Lily's career has been rising step by step because she is treating Zhao Sun. She had a good reputation in the company for being tolerant and generous when it came to cheating and cheating. In the end, several men with good conditions thought about pursuing her, but Lily didn't agree. It's just that a different choice at the beginning resulted in different results later. More than 2 years later, Lily met Zhao Sun at an annual meeting. Now he was getting worse and worse. They were even on equal footing at first, but now Lily has become the top leader in the company, and Zhao Sun is getting worse. However, Sun Sun only held a very small position in a small company. He sneaked in to negotiate business with Lily's subordinates, but when he saw Lily, Zhao Sun's eyes lit up and he squeezed towards Lily. Today's Lily is no longer the same as before. Zhao Sun's eyes flashed with a hint of complexity, and he tried his best to look arrogant. You are doing well now. The few people who were talking to Lily got up and left knowingly. Lily sat without moving and did not even look at Zhao Sun. Zhao Sun awkwardly pulled his tie and sat down. Now he lives in a difficult situation. He was middle-aged with no house, no car, no savings, and even a child. The good life he had imagined had not come. At this moment, he looked at Lily's well-fitting dress, sitting there with an elegant manner, and felt in his heart I actually regretted it a little. If he had married Lily, would it be possible that he no longer has to run around for life like he does now? Can he sit here aloof and not have to laugh around because of the contract? Lily, you also know that I have a deal that I want to discuss with you. If you are willing, we can go out for a meal and have a good talk. Zhao Sun winked at Lily, with an eager smile on his face. There is a bit of calculation in it. He is no longer young. When he reaches middle age, his body has begun to activate the blessings. When nothing is achieved, Zhao Sun naturally does not care about these problems. He does not even have the sophistication and grace in the plot. On the contrary, he looked inferior and ridiculously arrogant. He wanted to negotiate a contract with her now without even looking at him. Lily looked him up and down and couldn't help but laugh. When I like you, tell me what you say. When I don't like you, tell me what you are. Such a man is no longer worthy of her revenge. Zhao Sun's current fate is the best gift for Lily Zhang. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly votes. Your support is my biggest motivation. Cannon Fodder Strategy. Author, Wan Erwr. Chapter 401. When this mission sent Lily Zheng's parents to their last journey in life, Lily Zheng's body did not survive long. When Lily returned to the starry sky, she fell into a hug before she could stand still, and Li Yangzi was cold. A faint voice sounded, and his lips moved around her face. Is it fun? Lily was a little stiff at first, but when she heard Li Yangzi ask her about this mission, her hand that was about to subconsciously push Li Yangzi away stopped, and she shook her head in disgust. It's not fun. This mission Zhao Sun in the movie was so disgusting. Zhao Sun later pestered her for several years, just like Lily Zheng pestered the Zhao family in the plot. He later also wanted to marry him again and help him. Thinking of such a person, Lily's mind turned to the disgusting Zhao Sun. Li Yangzi looked at her with a frown and pressed her cheek to his chest. Lily lowered her eyelids, still thinking about her fate this time. Task, I didn't see a fleeting smile on the corner of Li Yangzi's raised mouth. There was a bit of evil in his slender eyes, but he quickly returned to his cold appearance. His lips were on top of Lily's head. After touching each other, when Lily came back to her senses, the two of them hugged each other and leaned on the soft couch that appeared at an unknown time. By the way, can I get my collection back? In this mission, Lily vented some of her resentment for losing her collection on that scumbag Zhao Sun. Now she finally returned to Starry Sky. She couldn't help but ask the question she was concerned about. Li Yangzi showed a faint smile line at the corner of his mouth, lowered his head and glanced at her. No. He looked cold and inviolable. After saying these words, Lily fell silent again under the expectant gaze. Lily was dumbfounded and subconsciously moved closer to him. Then if there is no collection, all my tasks will be gone in the future. Li Yangzi frowned, with a very serious look on his face, and turned his face away. Lily was lying next to him, and she could only see half of his jade-like profile and his straight chin. The situation seemed very serious. Generally. She was a little nervous instinctively, and then she heard Li Yangzi say seriously, the situation is very complicated. It may be because I was trapped in the mission at the beginning, so I can't give you an answer about your collection yet. Although she had already guessed this result, Lily still felt disappointed when she heard that the collection would not come back. Every collection in it is not only the result of her efforts in entering so many missions, but also because these collections will enable her to carry out more smoothly in future missions. But now all the collections are gone. Lily sighed. It's really not anyone else's fault. Li Yangzi was trapped in the mission because of her. Lily really had no position or confidence to ask him, and in addition, during this mission, she also vented some of the anger she was holding onto Zhao Xun. At this moment, I accepted the result calmly. After thinking about it, I felt a little regretful. Forget it. Anyway, maybe you can get there if you work hard in the future. Although what she said, Lily still felt a little depressed, but fortunately she had almost vented her resentment. In addition, this matter was related to her own sin, and Li Yangzi did not seek compensation from her. At this moment, she was just hugging and kissing her, and not doing anything else. She felt very relieved. After all, Li Yangzi might be as depressed as she was about this matter. In Lily's mind, Li Yangzi thought that she should feel as depressed as she did. When he heard Lily's words, his eyelids drooped, and his long and curled eyelashes drooped to block the thoughts in his eyes. He pursed his lips and then relaxed, letting go the fingers on Lily's waist moved, and Lily's information appeared in the starry sky. Gender, female, variable. Name, Lily. Age, 21. Intelligence, 80, out of 100. Appearance, 85, out of 100. Physical strength, 73, 100 full points. Force, 47, out of 100 points. Spirit, 67, out of 100 points. Reputation, 33, out of 100 points. Skills, 9 Yang Manual, 9 Yin Manual, Heaven and Earth Gate Tao Te Ching, Southern Gu Technique, Star Body Training Technique. Specialties, Intermediate Cooking Skills, Advanced Acting Skills, 5 Elements, and Bagua, Slight Dabbling. Charisma, 60, out of 100. Mark, Royal True Dragon Spirit. Except for adding 2 points of mental power, there were no other changes in this mission. Lily had already known about this result, but she was not disappointed. Seeing that there was only one mark left in the place where she was used to seeing the collection, Lily's heart bleeds. After a while, she thought about it, then what is this mark for? Last time, because of her relationship with Li Yangzi, she wanted to hide but was embarrassed. In addition, the loss of the collection was too big a shock, so she didn't have time to ask about the purpose of the collection. Now that she was calmer, Lily asked. When she came out, as soon as she finished speaking, Li Yangzi's jade-like and unreal face was silent for a moment. The eyes that had been looking down suddenly blinked, and the eyelids slowly lifted up. In a pair of deep eyes, as if filled with starlight, his eyes were dark and distant. Seal? The spirit of the royal true dragon. When Li Yangzi said this, his voice was a little soft, but Lily felt chilled all over for no reason, and the cold hairs on her back slowly stood up. She hesitated for a moment and nodded. Li Yangzi, the hand originally placed on her waist, slowly began to move up her waist. I was trapped in a mission last time, do you remember? Lily nodded reluctantly. Not only did she suffer a big loss on that mission, Li Yangzi also suffered a big loss. How could she forget it? Every time Li Yangzi mentioned that mission, she felt a little guilty and inexplicably afraid. She had a feeling that she was afraid of Li Yangzi settling accounts in the future. At this moment, she wished that he would take this away quickly, and regretted that she should not have mentioned the mark. During the last mission, I originally wanted to remind you that Qin Bei would not live past the age of 17. Li Yangzi's voice became lower and lower. His lips moved to the corner of Lily's mouth, and he kissed her lightly at first. When he felt that Lily was a little stiff, then he opened his mouth and gently bit her lips. It didn't hurt, but instead the tickling feeling penetrated into her bones. Lily opened her mouth and almost screamed out, but Li Yangzi's lips came close to her, swallowing up her exclamation and gasping into their tight lips. One hand went in along the hem of her clothes, turned around her waist, and began to caress her gently along her bare back. Li Yangzi suppressed her legs. Lily was not doing it in the starry sky during this time. During the task, Li Yangzi felt Ye Changjin's heart-wrenching feeling. Even though he had calculated everything, he could only fail to calculate the desire in his heart. He knew that although Lily had reluctantly agreed to take responsibility, according to her character, even if she was really responsible, she would be unwilling to do so. He couldn't rush into what he wanted to do. Even if he could force Lily, he might just push her further and further away in the end, especially after he erased her collection. Lily wanted a space to vent her anger, so Li Yangzi sent her into the mission to see what she would do. The resentment was vented on Zhao Sun in the plot. When he returned to the starry sky, he calmly accepted the fact that he had disappeared. Lily was following his plan. Even after seeing a man like Zhao Sun, she actually didn't resist when she saw herself again, but Li Yangzi suddenly remembered what an elder of the clan once said: no matter how many calculations you make, you can't count on yourself, no matter how tyrannical your strength is. And can't defeat my own heart. The elders who said this were not his opponents, and he did not even take these people seriously. But he didn't expect that after he couldn't remember how many years later, Qi Qing would now be incomplete. But when he remembered the sentence again, he couldn't even remember the elder's appearance. Li Yangzi slowly put some strength into his hands, wishing he could rub Lily into his body, as if he wanted to engulf her so that she could never run away again. She didn't have to wait for so long or hesitate like that, but he didn't want to. Somewhat reluctant. The words reluctant did not appear in his mind at all, but now such a ridiculous thought appeared in his mind, but he could not stop his actions. Li Yangzi took a deep breath, and his pupils returned to their calm appearance from the coldness without any emotion before. He still calmed down. The clothes on Lily in his arms that were transformed by spiritual power made him feel a little unstable just now. Her lower body was almost shattered into pieces. She was pathetically huddled in his arms and didn't dare to move. Her body seemed to be infected with his breath, and she looked nervous and stiff. But because you left me on the mission just like I did just now, the two of us have had skin-to-skin contact, so you have my mark on you. After having desire in his heart, Li Yangzi must have scared Lily just now. Because when he calmed down, he had already spread Lily's legs around his waist. Seeing that Lily's face was a little pale at this moment, Li Yangzi removed his hands from her bare back, spread his palms flat, and then soon a piece of translucent gauze appeared on it. He draped it on Lily and asked in a low voice, "Did you scare me? I was also scared by you in the last mission." He lied with his eyes open, but his cold face showed a hint of sadness at the right time, and his brows furrowed. Lily was indeed a little scared at first. Li Yangzi seemed to be a different person just now, but now she heard him say that she had raped him in this way last time. Poor Lily, who was still in shock, was dumbfounded and said no. Speak up. Lily licked her lips and stared blankly at Li Yangzi. She was the first tormentor, which made her completely unable to be angry at Li Yangzi's actions just now. At this time, she had no clothes on her body. She was still frightened by Li Yangzi, but now she saw the melancholy look on Li Yangzi's face. She stiffly twitched the corner of her mouth. She would have known better than to ask about the mark. She was about to cry but had no tears but to reach out to comfort him. "It's okay, I'm not afraid." Her face was still a little green. Li Yangzi glanced at it and drooped her eyelids. "Really? To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly votes. Your support is mine the biggest motivation. P.S. Fourth update. I just want to say that this time the author kept his moral integrity and finished it before 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. But I thought about the chapter title for almost an hour, and I couldn't bear the pain of my obsessive-compulsive disorder. Thanks to Mars Tong, dear He Shivi, for the reward. To congratulate myself on having an additional alliance leader, I will add an additional chapter on top of the additional update. However, I had to add more to celebrate myself, and a sense of bitterness came over me. Thank you, Ang Tao Tao Yao, kiss the second Heshabai that I rewarded today, push the extra updates to the back. Thanks to Z Siwei, He Shivi, who gave the reward. The fourth update, Instant Kill Potato, dear He Shivi, will add more updates.